babu wani kama da kai, ai babu wani.
Yeah, hello everybody. You're welcome to yet another edition of Africa's Realities. As usual, my name is Mr. Johnson Yakubu Sani, and today I'm out with another video. Today, I am bringing a video that I heard from a foreigner, a Liberian. He was analyzing Nigeria. He was analyzing the political situation of Nigeria. He was analyzing historical facts about Nigeria that I have never heard before. That it got me bewildered. And I felt you people need to hear this Liberian. So I'm going to bring this Liberian to you. I got it from another channel. And I want you to listen to this Liberian who was speaking in a sister channel that I got so interested and I got so enlightened by some of the things he said, and I felt you people need to hear these things. Now, before I play this Liberian, I want you to subscribe and turn up the notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, you'll be amongst the first to get to watch. And I want you to hit the like button, because the more you like this video, the more it's going to be shown to the world. And also, I want to thank my returning subscribers for always keeping faith that whenever I drop video, you guys are always amongst the first to get to watch. Thank you very much. Now, I don't want to talk too much Turenchi. Listen to this Liberian as he tells you about Nigeria like you have never heard before. When we come back, I'll just say a little things before we round up this video.
But I'm not a stranger to Nigeria. Let me first of all give a background of who I am so people understand what I'm going to say and why I'm saying it. I immigrated to Nigeria in the year 2000. I was 15 years old. Obasanjo just took over in 1999, a year after I arrived. I did my primary school in Nigeria, secondary school, wrote my WAEC in Nigeria. I went to New Horizons College in Niger State, Minna. I live in the Middle Belt. I've been to Kwara State many times. I speak Hausa very well. So I'm a half Nigerian, I will say, because I live in that country for more than 10 years. And I spend most part of my life there, and I have friends, family up till now in Nigeria. So if you wrote common entrance and you wrote WAEC, you should know Nigerian history, you should know the politics. And me being a Pan-Africanist, I have followed through most of the political activities in Nigeria. So that's what gave me, just to give you a background of who I am, so that I will be able to make analysis on the ongoing issues in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please.
Yeah. So I tried learning Yoruba, but I did not. I speak Hausa perfectly, because when you live in the north, Hausa is the common language there. So next to it, because I live in the Middle Belt, close to Kwara State, so you have Yoruba language, but the Kwara people, sometimes some of them speak Hausa as well. So my Yoruba is not good. So what I want to speak here tonight, Mayegun, the issue of Nigeria. I'm from Liberia, by the way. The name of my country is Liberia. And if you know Liberia, Nigeria helped us in the 90s when we had civil war in our country. Liberia was falling apart. We fought civil war, from 1999 down to 2003, and Nigerian forces helped quench the civil war in Liberia. So Nigeria was the hope of the continent, the giant of Africa, the country we all look up to and say, one day in the future, this is going to be our China. This is going to be our United States. If Nigeria succeeds, Africa succeeds. Every African, especially if you live in West Africa area, I'm not talking about regular people, but people who really analyze issue, you will know that Nigeria was the hope of the continent. But unfortunately, in the last 10 years, we've seen Nigeria going down the drain. We've seen Nigeria promising future now becoming dashed, and we've seen that it seems that there's no hope. So when people are making a lot of analysis, I come in and tell them that this is my own understanding. The problem in Nigeria is a summary of what is happening in all of African countries, which is number one, the way we got independence, the institutions that we inherited were not decolonized. It's like the colonial masters made a deal with people we call freedom fighters, and they replaced them. They just replaced the white Oyibo with our black brother who continue the colonial legacy. And I will give you an example. Your police is a typical colonial police. During the colonial era, the police was meant to protect the colonial elite. The police was there to beat up the people, subdue them, and terrorize them to protect the colonial masters. That's what the African police do now. That's what the Nigerian police does. The elite of the colonial era, they were bourgeoisie who lived in Africa, but then their real home is London. Their hospital is Paris. When the colonial masters get sick, they take them to Lisbon, they take them to Paris, they take them abroad to go to get treated in the what they call the metropole. And the Africa was the farm, was the place they work, was where is where you extract the natural resources. The London is where you go to enjoy it. Our elite are following the same pattern. The educational institutions were designed to make the colonial masters to look like saviors and tell the people who have been exploited to appear as if they are being indebted. They have to be grateful to the colonial masters for giving them education. Why that education was actually a miseducation. If you watch our education today, it followed the same pattern. The religion was created to pacify the public in order for them not to stage a revolution. The colonialists were in bed with the religious masters. They tell the people to calm down. In fact, our traditional rulers, some of them were compromised. Those of them who refused to compromise were removed from their throne. If you compromise with the colonial system, then you remain on your throne. Today is the same thing. Our traditional leaders have to compromise with the men in Abuja. The unknown forces in Abuja, in the capital, they have to connive with them to destroy your destiny. Now, all I'm saying here is that the colonial system continues, but it has just changed face. It just have a black face on it. So I say this to tell you, when people say, let's divide Nigeria, let's break up the country, let's have a Yoruba nation, let's have a Igbo nation. As a Pan-Africanist, I'm sad, because our philosophy was to create a black United States of Africa. So when we see now that a country like Nigeria cannot survive, that means that our theory has been debunked. But here is what we tell people. It doesn't matter if you divide Nigeria today into 7 countries. The same elite who are in bed with London, who are in bed with these forces in Europe, they will be the same elite who will take over this country. Example, South Sudan and Sudan. Did South Sudan become better after they broke out from Sudan? I don't think so. Many countries are breaking up in Africa after independence, but it was the same elite who were transported to the new country. The main people who wanted actual freedom were killed, were removed. Those who wanted real transformation were replaced with the bourgeoisie. Then the second thing I want to say, the forces, the internal forces that are working in African countries are against the people. If you look at Nigeria very well today, you can determine the future of Nigeria by looking at the forces that are controlling Nigeria. What are these internal forces? One, the religious group. I grew up in northern Nigeria. I went to school there. I was born a Muslim. I studied the Quran. I went to, if you have been to Niger State, Mina, if you know the institution called RET, Islamic Education Trust in Mina, controlled by Sheikh Ahmed Lemu. Those are the people that brought me up. They gave me scholarship. I went to that school in New Horizons College. I graduated there. I learned the Quran. I was a Muslim until I started traveling, and I decided to put religion aside. What I saw in northern Nigeria is that these people were colonized twice. They were first colonized by the Sokoto Caliphate through the Islamic Revolution. They were still under that colonialism, then the British colonialism came. So they are not in alignment with you in the South. You don't understand. They are operating under two influence of colonial culture that they have inherited. One, they inherited an extreme version of Islam called Wahhabism, which even Saudi Arabia is trying to abolish and embrace modernity. This northern Nigeria inherited an archaic, outdated Islamic view that came from Baghdad and Saudi Arabia those days. They inherited it. And it is very much entrenched in their culture. They do not believe in Nigeria as long as they are not on top. As long as Islam, though, for them, the vision for Nigeria is for Islam to triumph. That's the understanding for them. The destiny of Nigeria must lean toward Islamic revolution. That is the elite, the agenda. I'm not talking about the ordinary people on the street. They don't know what's going on. But the elite, that was the thinking of Usman Dan Fodio. That was the thinking of Sir Amadou Bello. That was the thinking of all this elite that came up. They designed, when they took over the army, you don't understand why they influenced the army in Nigeria. Their vision is to lead what Islamic revolution. Now, for you guys in the South, you had only one colonialism, which is the European. That's why there are people, Chris, John, Johnson. When you are tired of European colonialism, you fall back to your culture. They don't have no culture to fall back to. They only have Islamic extremism to fall back to when they are angry. That's why every riot in the North take an Islamic tune. Any fight, any fighting has to take an Islamic tune. They do not have any ideology or philosophy to fight with other than Islam. And this make you guys to live in two different planets, but yet you are trying to build a country. For me, even as a Pan-Africanist who want Africa to be together, I can tell you that northern, southern Nigeria cannot survive. I'm sorry to tell everyone. I'm not a prophet, okay? But we can look at the data and be able to say, this is what we think will happen. I think the fact here is that Nigeria is going to experience a very, very serious trouble. That's very obvious, worse than it is right now. The reason being is that I spoke of the internal forces in Nigeria, and I just mentioned one, which is the religion. That is the ethnic side, which I have not touched. Now, if you look at, let's deal with that first internal problem, which is the religion. I follow one politician in Nigeria in particular who I love before Obi came on the scene. That was Showore, when he said, take it back. When he said revolution now, people didn't understand. Nigeria needs a revolution. And when we say revolution, it's not just people moving on the street or what, a transformation of thinking and transformation of institution, complete transformation. You will do one revolution for Nigeria, then you will do another revolution for the North. Anything you do to Nigeria, you have to do it twice in the North before it will succeed. Extremists in the North will continue to use these uneducated, illiterate people to continue to vote the wrong people in power. Islamic agenda is a lie. No, it's true. I can tell you that.
Yeah, welcome back, viewers. Now you heard this Liberian. You heard what he said. You heard how he believed the kind of colonial system given to us is still the same colonial practice that is being practiced today, that our elites have now become the colonial masters, and they are practicing, and they are taking Nigeria, or they are ruling Nigeria, or they are steering Nigeria just the way the colonial masters did. And it's almost the same thing. I never thought of this like this, that the way the colonial masters are here ruling us, but when they get sick, they have to go abroad, and they don't put the institutions or the infrastructure in Nigeria. They have to go abroad. The way they cornered all the traditional rulers, and they ruled through the traditional rulers, and the way everything this man said made sense to me, that the colonial system brought to us is still the same way that is happening now. It's just that now it's not the white colonial masters, it's our elites that have taken the place of the colonial masters. Look at what he said. Now look at what he said about Nigerian police. That the same way the police were there to do the biddings of the colonial masters is the same way our police is today. Is that the police is there to make sure that there is compliance of the masses to the bourgeoisies, or just like the colonial masters. Many things this man said made sense to me, and it opened my eyes to another way I see Nigeria, and I pray for Nigeria. I say, God, let Nigeria be healed. I want Nigeria to be healed. I want Nigeria to be healed. If we can have this trust that I talk about. If only we can get fairness and equity. If only we can see ourselves as our brother's keeper, Nigeria will work. Or else, people are talking about disintegration. All I will say, I'll keep on praying for Nigeria. Thank you for listening. Please like and turn up the notification button, and the notification and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until I come your way another day, my name is Mr. Johnson Yakobusani. Thank you very much for listening.